The air was thick with a sense of uncertainty as the world around him seemed to pulse with a distant, almost eerie hum. Jack sat at the helm of his ship, the Asterisk series Voyager Asterisk, staring out into the vastness of the cosmos. Space was unforgiving, but even more so was his growing sense of loneliness. His crew had been lost in a tragic encounter months ago, leaving him as the only human aboard the ship. His journey had been one of survival and solitude, drifting from one system to another, following the faint trail of lost signals and unexplained phenomena. But today, something was different. A signal had pinged from an uncharted moon, a distress call that was weaker than any he had encountered before. It felt strange, wrong, in a way that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. He had no idea what to expect, but something told him this encounter would change everything. Jack's hands hovered over the control panel, his eyes narrowed. The distress signal was faint but persistent, almost like a soft, rhythmic heartbeat from an unknown source. The Asterisk series Voyager Asterisk's advanced sensors picked up a small anomaly, barely visible against the backdrop of stars. He tapped a few keys, bringing up the coordinates. The signal seemed to be coming from a desolate, barren moon orbiting a gas giant. "Guess I don't have much else to do," he muttered, a half-smile creeping onto his face, though it was devoid of humor. He pulled the throttle, and the ship surged forward, cutting through the cold void of space. The journey was brief, but as he approached the moon's surface, the eerie quiet of space deepened. The moon was smaller than most, its surface cracked and scarred from countless meteors. The ship's landing gears screeched as they touched down, the desolate surface around him reflecting the eerie green glow of the gas giant above. Jack suited up quickly, grabbing his helmet and checking his blaster as he made his way to the airlock. There was no telling what he would find. The signal was too weak to get a precise location, but it had to be close. Stepping outside, he adjusted his helmet and began walking, the moon's dusty ground crunching beneath his boots. And then, he saw them. Two figures collapsed on the ground. Alien. Their bodies were thin, fragile-looking, their skin a soft shade of violet, almost translucent. They were humanoid, but with delicate, elongated features that suggested a different biology. One of them, a female, was breathing heavily, her chest rising and falling in ragged gasps. The other, slightly younger, lay motionless beside her. His heart skipped a beat. They were alive, but just barely. He knelt beside them, scanning them with his ship's emergency med scanner. It chirped in response, showing that both were dangerously malnourished, their systems shutting down due to prolonged exposure to the cold. Hey, can you hear me?" Jack said softly, trying not to startle them. The older of the two stirred, her violet eyes fluttering open, staring at him with a kind of wariness that sent a chill down his spine. Her voice, when she spoke, was raspy, almost like a whisper carried on the wind. "Please, feed us," she croaked. Jack's heart wrenched. He knew what it was like to feel the weight of hunger, but the desperation in her voice was unlike anything he had ever encountered. Without hesitation, he activated his communicator, calling his ship's AI to prepare emergency rations. But as he turned to retrieve them from his pack, something strange happened. The younger alien, still unconscious, shifted slightly, and Jack could see the faint outline of a glowing blue symbol just beneath his skin. It pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat of its own. "Not human," Jack muttered, his eyes narrowing. When he turned back to the older sister, she was watching him intently, her expression almost pleading. "Please, we must." Her words faltered as if she was trying to communicate something but couldn't find the strength to finish. The thought of just leaving them, even after all the years of loneliness in the cold void, felt unthinkable. Jack reached into his pack, producing the emergency food packets, and began to feed them both. The sisters' eyes closed in relief as the nutrient-rich gels began to heal their malnourished bodies, giving them the energy they needed to survive. It was a simple act, but something about it felt sacred. He hadn't realized how much he needed to feel connected to something, to someone. Hours passed, and the sisters were awake now, their strength returning rapidly. Jack had set up a small camp near the wreckage of what he assumed was their ship, though the vessel looked ancient, clearly damaged beyond repair. "So, what happened?" Jack asked, his curiosity overwhelming him. "Who are you?" The older alien gave him a cautious glance, her violet eyes now sharp and intelligent. "We are the Quell, a race from the planet Thuron." She paused, as if debating whether or not to trust him. "We were exiled. Our ship malfunctioned. We've been drifting for months. Our people were not so fortunate." Jack swallowed hard, understanding the weight of her words. "I'm sorry. You've done more than any other living being would have," she replied softly. Her voice held an air of mystery, but also deep gratitude. She smiled faintly. "We can never repay you. But there is one thing we must ask." Jack frowned, unsure of what she meant. "Anything." The youngest sister, who had remained silent until now, spoke, her voice clear but soft. "We are bound by an ancient pact. To those who save our lives, we offer a gift." She paused. "A bond. A bond." Jack repeated, confused. The oldest sister continued, her tone more serious now. "The bond is a deep, symbiotic connection. It links our lives, our minds, our destinies. We offer it to you, for you have shown us kindness that no other has. If you accept, we will share our knowledge, our technology, and our strength. We will protect you, and you will never be alone." Jack felt the weight of their words. The offer was more than tempting. It was something he could never have dreamed of. The chance to learn from an ancient civilization, to be part of something greater, to never feel the crushing isolation again. But the idea of a bond, something so intimate, so permanent, felt overwhelming. I don't know," Jack said, his voice shaking slightly. "That's a lot to take in." The younger alien took a step forward, her hand hovering just inches from his. "You do not have to decide now, but we must leave this place. Our time here is running out, and our enemies will come for us." "Enemies?" Jack asked, confusion turning to concern. "The ones who exiled us," the oldest sister explained. "They do not forgive. They will hunt us down, and if they find us, they will destroy you too." A cold shiver ran down Jack's spine as he realized the full extent of their predicament. They weren't just stranded, they were fugitives from a powerful force. But even then, he couldn't shake the pull of the bond. "I can't just leave you," Jack said finally. "I'll help you, whatever it takes." The sisters exchanged a glance, a silent understanding passing between them. Then, without another word, the younger alien raised her hand, and the symbol beneath her skin began to glow brightly. "You have made your choice," she said softly. "The bond is now formed." Jack felt a strange warmth flood through him, as if his very soul had just intertwined with theirs. His vision blurred for a moment, and then he saw it.